This is going to be a hybrid portrait session, which means I'm going to be doing both stills and video in exactly the same lighting of exactly the same scene. So today I've got two LED lights to light this setup, one either end, and we've got this beautiful white sweepy fabric just to give us that nice high key style. The lighting being LED means I'll get exactly the same results for both the stills and the video side of this photo session. But of course, it didn't start here. So let's rewind and break it down. To help me out today, I've got the amazing Chloe. Chloe's going to be the model for this photo session, and this is a hybrid photo session, which means I want to have the identical looking lighting for both the stills and the video part. And the reason I want to do that is simply because, well, I want to share this on social media, and video, well, that has a big reach. This is going to be a high-key photo session, so a lot of white in the scene. In fact, I've got pretty much every white blanket and curtain I could get from the house, and some of these are old backgrounds from the studio, some of this is fabric, some of it is bed sheeting, some of it is literally net curtains. But the first thing we need to do is set the camera up. Now, usually I would do no flash, no picture. Well, there is no flash, so I need to get control of the room lights in a different way. I'm going to do that by just turning them off. It's not completely black in here because, well, you still need to see a bit of me on the video, but if I turn the light on, my first light is going to be back here. This is a Godox Lightmons LA300R. It is an RGB light, but I'm just going to use it in its white mode, and I've dialed in a white of this one of 6000K, which is a slightly bluish white because the fabric is slightly old and yellowed, so that should cancel each other out. But the position of this light is basically a backlight. I'm going to put it against the back wall, I'm going to bounce it off the back bit of curtain just in the top corner, because I'd like to backlight this scene and try and get a feeling of recession. So my settings I'm using here are 1/125th of a second, f2, ISO 400. When I take a picture, well, it is literally exactly what you see, and that's the joy of LED lighting. Now, obviously, the front of Chloe is in quite a bit of shade. It's not really a silhouette because light's bouncing around this fairly white room. So to light the front of Chloe, I'm going to use another one of the Godox Lightmons lights. This is actually the weaker power LA150R. Again, I'm going to use it in white mode. And again, it's going to be at full power. And my plan to soften the effect is to actually bounce it off the ceiling of the studio just a little bit. And that is going to give me hopefully nice soft lighting to fit in with this whole high-key feel. You don't have to take a test photo with LED lighting. What you see on the screen is what you get, but here's what it looks like, which is great, except there's nothing really in front of Chloe. To make this setup work, I would like to add in a bit more fabric, and guess what? I've got some. So I've added in this material at the front to really just fill in the lower half of the picture, give a bit of foreground interest. I've used the thinnest fabric at the front. This is actually net curtains, and I'm hoping that we might just see a little bit of Chloe through them. I'm not really sure until we get going, but it should at least give a feeling of depth and recession through the image. So I've got the light that's nice and soft. I've bounced it off the ceiling. If you don't have a white ceiling, you could use soft boxes, but this works really well. And the end result, well, I can see it without taking a photo, but it looks like this. I've left one of the bits of fabric loose so I can actually adjust the curve if I need to, but that is basically the lighting set for both the stills and the video. I'm going to start with the stills, so let's take a few photos like this. Chloe, are you ready? Okay, here we go. Because I'm using LED lights, the shutter speed I've dialed in is a real shutter speed. So that is the limitation on the amount of movement I can have so I don't get blurred hands, but in this case, that's not really an issue. And if I wasn't doing the hybrid video part of this photo session, yes, I could absolutely get the same results using flash instead of LED.
This whole styling really lends itself to a bit of air movement on Chloe's hair. That can be as simple as just getting a wafting board. In this case, it's a 5-in-1 reflector. Or if you want a bit more control, then a dedicated fan, and there are lots to choose from out there. This is a mini leaf blower, and if you use it from behind, you actually get a very different type of hair movement. And bonus, it doesn't dry your model's eyes out.
With the stills photography side of things done, it's time to move on to part 2, which is the video. But the good news is, I don't have to change the lighting. It's exactly the same lighting for stills and video. But I do have to think about the camera I'm going to use. So I could use my phone. I could use something a bit more dedicated like the DJI Pocket 3. You'll find gear links for what I am using in the video description down below. They'll take you back to Adorama for more information. I'm actually going to use the same camera as I use for the stills photography, because these things are brilliant at doing video. You just need to set them up. So I've dialed in video mode on the top, and now I'm going to put some settings in. So I'm going to go with a 4K video, and I'm going to choose 60 frames per second, which means I can actually slow this down if I want to have a more slow-mo effect in post-processing. Then to make that work, I'm going to dial in a shutter speed of roughly double 60, which is 125th of a second, f2 and ISO 400, which might sound familiar as settings we used earlier. And then it's simply a matter of pressing record and taking some vertical video. And that's what I'm going to do next.
If I know I'm doing the hybrid photo video session at the beginning, that really helps because I can dial in the settings that will work for both stills and video, which has two advantages. The first one is speed, at which I can switch between the two, and the second one is the look is the same as far as depth of field goes. I've even dialed in the same white balance, but one thing I can't replicate on the two is any post-processing. It's a different system. So you've got to watch out in your video for things you take for granted in stills photography, for example. It's really hard to clone anything out in video.
Well, that really was a fun photo session. The end result looks fantastic in both stills and video, and remember, twice the amount of content from one single setup. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, go down, give me a comment, say hello, give it a thumbs up, that's always appreciated. Check out the gear links, they'll take you back to Adorama, of course. The most important thing, click on the subscribe button. Now, if you want to see more videos where we've done high key photography, why not check out this video where you can see exactly that right here in my small home studio. I'm Gavin Hoey, thanks for watching.